And with that, welcome to the Push to Pass podcast. That was Josh's choice for opening music. That was not mine. So hopefully, Josh is able to get some audio. I think he may be having audio issues. I did hear the show opener. Hopefully, Josh is able to hear that as well. And I think just got confirmation that he did. He's getting audio now, so that's definitely a good thing. But yes, like I said, that was Josh's choice for the opener, not mine. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it. But Josh, we are back for another week, another episode here. We are going across the border this
North of
weekend.
the
Well,
border, eh?
north of the border, eh? Not me and you, but the
Oh,
NTT IndyCar Series is going north of the border there to Toronto. I know that's your home away from home for the Honda Indy. Or Honda Indy Toronto, I believe is what that is called. We'll discuss that a lot in detail, obviously, as the show unfolds, and then obviously we'll have Mike here towards the end to look at some of the betting lines for this weekend and to preview that. But Josh, like I said, glad to be back, and it's another week of racing. And like you said, we are going north of the border. As I see, you got your hockey jersey on, just to set the mood there. Got your hockey jersey on, ready to go to Toronto this weekend.
oh yeah, I can't wait. North of the border. I wish I was up there. Toronto, I hear, is a beautiful place to go to. One sometime I'll be able to ever get up there, get to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and maybe get up there and go see this race one year. Got my passport already. We need Derik to get his, and we can make the trek up there.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting. If you recall, just a few weeks ago, I was just one body of water away from Canada, up in Detroit, and I know I told Josh this, but I have to say I was kind of uh, um, what's the word I'm looking for here? I don't know, not innocent maybe, but dumbfounded that Detroit was so close to Canada. I had no idea that it was literally right across the Detroit River there. I had no idea until I got there. I was like, wow, I didn't know it was that close. I should have the big Canadian flag probably should have tipped me off there, but didn't realize how close Detroit was. So right across the river there, right across the river is Canada, and the first thing you see right there, you see the big Caesar's Palace. If you've ever been to Detroit, that's what you see. But getting back, let's take a look, Josh. Well, before we do the track map, have you had an opportunity to look at any highlights of last year's race? I know it's been a few years. Um, since IndyCar did go to Detroit for this, that, and the other, able to take a look, a preview of the track and the race last year, and did you see anything?
You were showing me highlights earlier. It was an exciting race. It was packed. I know they would. I believe they had been on hiatus for a year or two, and they had not been back to Toronto. And the Canadian faithful showed up and showed out for IRL. NTT bringing it back to the bringing it back to the country, bringing it back to the nicest country in the world. The fans showed up, showed out, and they were. It was an exciting race from the highlights that you had showed me. I know we're going to watch highlights at the end of this podcast, show it so that we can get a feel for how it's going to be. Can't wait. Once again, another track I can sit down and watch, and I haven't actually looked at the layout, but I'm anticipating some hard hitting driving.
Yeah, definitely can't wait for this weekend. Always exciting week when we have racing to talk about. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the track layout that we're going to have here this weekend up in Toronto for the Honda Indy Toronto race. As you see the track map. They're up on screen for everyone. I know it does say 2022. Not a lot of changes between this year and last year. It is a 85 lap, 151.81 mile race. The tight 11 turn, 1.786 mile exhibition place street circuit offers great views of downtown Toronto, often leads to cars attempting to squeeze past each other in different turns. Many times, only one car can make it through unscathed. The long front stretch, as you see, leading into the Princess Gate at turn one, and then Lakeshore Boulevard, not in Chicago, but Lakeshore Boulevard straight, leading into a hard 90-degree right hand turn in turn number three, is the best place for overtaking. Taking a look at the weekend schedule. Now, keep in mind that the NTT IndyCar Series is the only one that is going to be in Toronto this weekend. No Indy next, so it's just the NTT IndyCar Series. All of the schedule for this weekend can be found on Peacock. And then, if you are away from your television, away from Peacock, and you do have Sirius XM satellite radio, you can always go to IndyCar Radio there on Sirius XM and find all of the broadcasts there as well. Kicking things off on Friday, July 14th at 3 p.m. is practice number one. And then following Saturday, a lot of events take place there on Saturday first at 10:35 a.m. in the morning. Again, these are all Eastern Standard Times. We have practice number two. And then the crews have a little bit of time to get the cars trimmed out and ready for qualification. Is the first group of qualification starts at 2:50 p.m. And then following that will be qualifications, round two, group number two, and those will kick off officially around 3:15 p.m. Qualifying round two will follow that around 3:40 p.m. And then you'll have the Firestone Fast Six. Again, all of these events there on Saturday. And the Fast Six obviously will determine who sits on pole for this race on Sunday. The Firestone Fast Six is scheduled to start around 4:05 p.m. And then on Sunday, you have the pregame warm up for the NTT IndyCar Series. That's going to kick off at 10:15 a.m. And then about a few hours later, about 3.5 hours, give or take, later is the drop of the green flag for the Honda Indy Toronto, and that's officially supposed to kick off at 1:45 p.m. Again, all of the practices, qualifications, warm up, and race are on Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, or you are away from your television, flip it over to Sirius XM satellite radio, IndyCar Radio. We'll have all of the events there as well. Taking a look at some of the past winners of this race, Scott Dixon was last year's winner. Simon Pagenaud in 2019. Interesting news coming up about the aforementioned there, Simon Pagenaud. And we talked about 2019 due to COVID. The NTT IndyCar Series did not run in Toronto in 2020 or in 2021. Scott Dixon took the race in 2018. Joseph Newgarden 2017. Will Power 2016. Joseph Newgarden again 2015. Scott Dixon 2013. Ryan Hunter-Reay 2012. Will Power 2010. Will Power 2007. And then that does it for all of the active drivers. So hopefully that gets everyone caught up as to what we're looking at in Toronto. Obviously, we'll talk more about this um, when Mike joins us. But Josh, I know this is a race like you said in the open there. A little unfamiliar with, haven't really seen a whole lot. But going through some of the specifics of the track, mileage, and then previous winners or prior winners. So to say, anybody jump off the page there that you might be looking to pick. I know we forgot to do a pick for the last or 2 weeks ago's race, and I have the updated standings for that. But anybody jump off the page initially that you may be putting some money on this weekend?
You mean outside of outside of Polo? I'm gonna ride the hot hand. I'm gonna go
Wow,
with Polo.
really going out on a limb there.
I mean, if you're the '85 Bears, I mean, you only lost one game. I mean, if you'd have bet on the '85 Bears every game except for that one, you'd have won money. So why not go with the hot hand? But I mean, that's the easy pick. But I really think Scott Dixon. I think he'll have a good weekend this weekend. He's been able to be consistent of the drivers. You know, him and Ericsson have been probably the two other most consistent drivers this season outside of Pelot. I've kind of given up on Award. He just can't, like we've said, he just can't seem to get out of his own way. But those are my other two. Those are my two, as you would call them, dark horses. I would say Erickson and Dixon because they're hanging around. They're hanging around in the top of the leaderboard and the charts during the races, but they just can't seem to catch Pelot. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to catch him, but if I had to take two dark horses this week, dark horses, that would be Erickson and Dixon. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, how can you? And again, going out on a limb here, how can you bet against um, Alex Pillow right now? Um, he dominated the IMS road course, and if it wasn't for a accident coming off of pit road, um, Alex Pillow probably wins the 500, not Joseph Newgarden. And then a week later in the streets of Detroit, Alex Pillow again, and this is going to sound like a broken record. Alex Pillow not only takes the pole for that race, but dominates that race. And then following Detroit was what, Mid Ohio, I believe, and I may be skipping one in between there. Well, I guess I can look on the
Road
the
America.
yeah, here
Road
we go. Here we
America.
go. Look at the race picks right here. Alex Pillow dominates the Indy Road Course, which look who picked him there. And then if it wasn't for a mishap coming off the pits in the 500, you're probably looking at Alex Pillow winning that there as well. And then 1 week later, dominating at Detroit, not only capturing the pole for Detroit, but dominating that race as well. And then you had Road America, which I did he didn't win Road America, did he?
Yes, he did.
He may
Remember,
yeah he did win.
he has
Yes, yes,
won. He has won one, two, three. I believe he's won four of the last five.
yes. That is true. Road America, or the Indianapolis Road Course race, Detroit Road America, Mid Ohio. Yes, so he dominates at Road America, and then the you know. Well, no, it was a Road America wasn't it? It was a gaff. It was Herta had the lead, but his fuel strategy kind of backfired on him. So that's what give Alex Pillow the win there. And then obviously he dominates at Mid Ohio as well. So obviously you got to put a little coin on Alex Pillow. Now, can he keep up this winning streak? I mean, we don't know. But when it comes to street and road courses, you can't count out the Spaniard. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination. I would, I would love to. I would absolutely love to put some scratch on Pato Award, but unfortunately, until he figures out how to get out of his own way, I don't think you can. I want to. I absolutely want to because that was my pick at the beginning of the year. Obviously, to win the whole enchilada and to win the 500, he was 8 laps away from that. But unless he has a resurgence here in the second half and Alex Pillow, chokes it away in the ninth inning, so to say, that's probably not going to happen. But like I said, I would love to put money on Pillow, but it's just so risky because you don't know what you're going to get with him. Or not, excuse me, you
Oh,
just don't know what you're going to get with Award. Sorry, you don't know what you're going to get with Award. Somebody else I think that could be a dark horse here, and Mike will probably disagree with this. If he could ever finish a race and not wreck, is Roman Grosjean. As much as it pains me to say that, because I'm not a huge Roman Grosjean fan, but he can. It seems throughout the whole race he can stay up to the front, but it's just he has again, it's a lapse in judgment, or he shoots himself in the foot like Pato Award does, and he ends up wrecking somebody else and taking himself out as well. That's somebody else I would love to put money on, but I just can't. It it's like throwing a Pato Award and Roman Grosjean are just you're throwing a dart is what you're doing. You're throwing an absolute dart and hoping you hit on it. So but yeah, the sure thing, obviously, I mean, you ride the hot hand. You ride the hot hand, obviously, and that's Alex Pillow. And I'm sure, Mike will talk about that here when he comes on in about 20 minutes or so. We'll look at the race, these race picks here. I've completely, crapped the bed, so to say. Let's put it mildly for the kids watching or listening. But these are the race picks that we've picked so far this year. I had to give everyone the Mid Ohio because I was so busy that I forgot to put it out or even ask it who everybody's pick was. So RC gets on the board, obviously right there with one. Josh is firmly in the lead with about 8 races left to go. He's got 7 wins. Me, on the other hand, again, you see the homer in me. I don't know how many times Pato Award pops up there. And again, that 500 stings me because he would have won that. He was 8 laps away from winning that. With 3, so definitely I have some ground to make up here as we get the second half of the season underway there at Toronto. Some interesting news, Josh, that we have seen here, especially today. We'll go over to the news portion of this. I know we're kind of doing this kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but we couldn't get any driver interviews this week. That's a real shame, but hopefully we'll be able to get some content after the race on Sunday. But um, we talked about last week the horrendous crash involving Simon Pagenaud, and we give credit obviously to Delara and the aero screen for pretty much saving Simon Pagenaud's life, or maybe not paralyzing him. I think, and it sounded like all indications were that obviously Simon wasn't going to race on Sunday, but he was going to be with a week off, be able to go and race in Toronto this weekend. But about what was it, Josh? About 2 o'clock, I think, this afternoon, I believe, if memory serves me correctly. Simon Pagenaud puts this out on Twitter, which I think caught everyone by surprise. After going through further medical evaluation this week under the care of the IndyCar medical team, I have not been cleared to race. While I feel good, I am still recovering with back to back races. There just wasn't enough time to allow my body to fully recover in time to compete this weekend. I will continue to follow the medical team's recommendations as I get back. I can be back racing soon. Thank you, everyone, for your support. So that was put out on Twitter. I think actually, I think it was a little bit later. I want to say it might have been around 3 o'clock or so as we were leaving work today. Maybe 4 o'clock. I don't recall. And I know you said specifically. I wonder if that's going to open the door for the second race in a row for Connor Daly to step in that number 60 entry there this weekend. But before we get to that and who's going to drive that, it's sad to see that Simon isn't going to be able to race this weekend. I can't imagine the toll, height, doing what Simon did, barrel rolling 6.5 times, the toll that it takes on someone's body. But again, unfortunately, the IndyCar medical staff, which I imagine they do great work, decided that they were not going to clear Simon to race this weekend. Josh, before we talk about who's going to take the spot, and this is actually somebody, if you haven't seen, that you broke news on a few weeks ago that may be in that number 60 entry next year. But your thoughts on Simon taking another week off?
Tough decision. I know Simon wanted to race. I mean, I guess I don't know him, but in my heart of hearts, I believe he was he wanted to race, and he probably did everything he could to try to get himself medically cleared. But as medical technology progresses more and more and evolves, they have just like in any other sport, they have advanced to where they're not just going to throw these drivers out there willy nilly, just because they want to go out there. They're gonna take their health, their well being, and their health into it, because let's face it, these drivers are big investments, and if you go out there and let's say I don't know if it's a concussion or he has something wrong with his body, because it's kind of weird. You would say he said his body is not recovering as well if it was a head injury, but I mean I guess it's his head is part of his body, but I'm thinking it's a concussion. So you can't just stick somebody back out there and endanger the lives of the other drivers, because I don't know if you've ever had a concussion, but after the concussion, you're not fully right for at least about a month or so afterwards. I mean, you may be able to function cognitively, but you're not. You have lapse in mental stability, as I would say it. You could be doing something and just forget, all of a sudden forget what you're doing, and just go into a fog, and that's not good for the other drivers. So I commend Simon for for accepting this decision and not pushing to be able to drive. And I commend the NTT medical staff for doing their due diligence and making sure that Simon was fully 100% ready to go. And I'm sure he'll be back in a couple weeks when we is I believe Iowa's up next. He'll be back for the doubleheader. So maybe this week off, this extra week off, will help him. But I know he's got to be disappointed.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think disappointment is obviously a understatement. I think to say the least. But obviously, if that's what if that's what all indications are pointing to, and again, we don't know if Pagano did end up having a concussion after that. And to answer your question, I've been pretty lucky, I think, to say the least. We're not being able to get one of those. And not only do you have to, as you said, as you pointed out, not only does the IndyCar medical team have to look out for Simon and his best interest, obviously past racing, but I think they also have to do. They have an obligation to look at, as you said, to look out for the safety of the drivers, and not knowing how Simon's going to react in the car this weekend. Going around those turns at such high rate of speed. How that's going to affect him. So having him sit out, not clearing him. And having him sit out for another week is probably erring on the side of caution. So obviously can't fault the IndyCar medical staff, obviously, for that. But with all of that being said, there does have to be a driver in that number 60 entry this weekend. And Josh talked about this and broke this a few weeks back, that they could potentially be looking elsewhere. The Meyer Shank Racing next year for their IndyCar team. And well, quick audition for this gentleman. I know he races their car there for the 24 hours at Daytona. I guess is the Rolex 24. I guess, but Tom Bloomquist, I believe, is that gentleman's name. He is going to be stepping in and making his NTT IndyCar debut on Friday in the number 60 entry there for Meyer Shank Racing. So, if I remember correctly, I think he did test at Laguna Seca this year, and I'm trying to remember. And the only reason why I know he tested there is I seen the lap times on Twitter. Now I can't remember exactly now where I seen them at, and maybe when Mike comes in, I can try to search them a little more in depth. But he has been behind an IndyCar before, like I said, testing at Laguna Seca. That is a road course compared to the street course that you're going to see in Toronto. But a quote from Bloomquist, and this comes from racer.com. Marshall Pruitt, great work he does. Go check it out. But talking about the challenge that Toronto is going to hold for him this weekend, Bloomquist just basically said this is the hardest thing that you can do. So, somebody that is inexperienced, Josh, obviously making his debut in Toronto on the streets there in Toronto. I think he's going to have a lot of eyeballs, I think, on him, especially if that news that we talked about last week is accurate, as to he's going to step into full time next year outside of the 500. Obviously, he's going to step full time next year in one of those Meyer Shank Racing entries there.
Definitely going to be a great audition for him. This begs the question: why this week, and why didn't he? Why did they choose Connor Daly last week and not Connor Daly this week? I know we'll never know that, but this is going to be a good test for Bloomquist. Testing and driving in a actual race are two different things. I mean, obviously. But it'll be interesting to see. I'll keep an eye on him on over this weekend, see how he qualifies. If he qualifies high, we were talking maybe throw a couple shillings on him, a couple shekels for maybe a top 10 or a top 5. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. And we don't know how long this injury for Pagenaud is going to last. So I mean, it could last into a couple of races, depending upon the severity of his injuries that we're just speculating on. We don't know the actual injuries. So looking forward to seeing some new blood out there. See what he can do, and hope a speedy and fast recovery for Pagenaud. But this gives us a chance to get a glimpse of the future in what Meyer Shank Racing's going to be putting out there next year on a full-time basis.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And for people that may be unfamiliar with Tom Bloomquist, if you don't take part in the IMSA Sports Car Championship, that's where Bloomquist has made his name. A young kid, born November 30th, 1993, so a young lad. But the first thing I find very interesting is his nationality, Josh. Not to make this an issue, but Tom Bloomquist is his nationality is British, Sweden, and New Zealand. That's a very interesting. So he is a New Zealand based, British born, New Zealand based, British born, Swedish professional racing driver. So say that 5 times fast. Like I said, he competes in the IMSA Sports Car Championship with Meyershank Racing. Bloomquist has also competed in the FIA World Endurance Championship with United Autosports in the LMP2 category. Bloomquist also won the 2022 and 2023 24 Hours of Daytona with Meyershank and the 2018 24 Hours of Spa with BMW Motorsport. He is the son of 1984 Swedish World Rally Champion Stig Bloomquist, and it raced under a Swedish racing license since March of 2010. So that is a little bit of background there on Bloomquist. Not familiar, obviously, in racing, but little experience when it comes to the NTT IndyCar series. So I think you're absolutely right when you said that there's going to be eyeballs, obviously, to see how this young man does, especially if that news plays out that we talked about last week, that he is going to be a full time driver there for Meyershank in 2024. So definitely a lot of storylines. I think coming. It'll be going into Toronto. Obviously, first and foremost, like we said, can Alex Palou continue to dominate this 2023 season? And who's it going to be? I think that's story number two. Is what driver is going to be able to um, break up the stranglehold that Alex Palou has on these tracks. It seems like week in and week out, and then the third is going to be how how Tom Bloomquist um, debuts in this uh, race on Sunday and the series as a whole, especially if he's going to be racing full time in 2024. And then hopefully, like you said, Simon Pagenaud is able to get back on the mend, so to say, because definitely want to see him finish the season strong because and he could be looking for a new seat next year. I think there's going to be a lot of movement, Josh, within the free agent pool in the series, the silly season as it's called, when everything's all said and done. And I think the driver entries that you see this year for each team, due to the pending free agents and some of the big names that are on that list at the end of the year. I think you're going to see a lot of those names are going to be on different teams next year. So you're going to look at you look at the list now, and it's going to be, I think, Josh, totally different. Obviously, when we open up at St. Petersburg there at the end of February.
Oh yeah, more turnover than the NBA, I would say. Just in listening to you over the last two seasons, it seems like drivers are on the go, daily. Well, not daily, but yearly. That there's always speculation that this driver's going here and that driver's going there, and we've already heard that Meyer Shank is going to be announcing probably a big announcement sometime in August of what their driving lineup's going to look like. We're speculating that Tom Bloomquist is going to be full time, and that there's going to be another driver coming from one of the other teams that's going to come over and race for them. And we're still we're still on the edge of our seats, seeing if Pillow indeed is going to uh, leave Chip Ganassi to head over to Zach Brown's Arrow McLaren, and what uh, what series he will be racing in. Will it be the NTT, or will he move up and go over to F1 and see if he can dominate there as he's dominated here in NTT? It's going to be interesting over the next couple of months as the free agency unfolds, and who's going where, and what are we going to do, and what driver possibly could be left without a ride. I mean, that's all I got to say about that. I mean, I don't know exactly who all is going to be free agents, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out.
And then I think the number one, if there is a top free agent in this class, so to say, you can't forget Marcus Erickson.
Oh yeah.
He is going to be everyone is going to be gunning for him. I think too for their team to make their team stronger. Can't forget about him. One more piece of news, Josh, we need to go over, and I completely forgot about this. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum today announced some new renovations that they're going to be making to the museum. And I didn't know this number till about 15 seconds ago. They tweeted this out actually about 11 o'clock this morning, that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum will announce today the public phase of its $89 million, yes, $89 million capital campaign, the stories behind the spectacle, to fund a complete transformation of the museum. Now, think about this. This is the first significant renovation to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum in almost 40 years. And I know we were able to, courtesy of Nathan Brown, Indianapolis Star, go check his work out there. I know he had some images of what it's going to look like, what the renovations are going to look like. But the museum is obviously start kicking off their public phase to raise $89 million. Wow. To renovate the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum, their first significant renovations in the last 40 years. And like I said, I know we looked at some of these still photos that Nathan Brown tweeted out today. And Josh, if what they're trying to do, it comes close or compares to the renovation or the pictures that we seen today, I can't wait. And I think it's not till 2020, 24, 25. I can't remember when they said those would be completed. But if those renovations look anything similar to what those pictures were that we seen earlier today, I can't wait to make my way down to the track and go to that museum, because I think the renovations, again, if it's anything remotely close, they're gonna absolutely knock it out of the park.
Oh, definitely. I'm looking at the pictures and the renderings of what it's supposed to look like. I know there was one where it was, three cars lined up, like on the starting grid, and then overhead they're gonna have what looks like a flyover. Looks bad. Bad A, as we would say. It's gonna be a tremendous thing, and to think that they haven't done any renovations to that place in 40 years. Just the ideas that one could have. I've been down to Daytona, and I've been to Daytona's uh, museum for their track, and it's phenomenal. So I would imagine they probably went down there, looked at some of their ideas, and maybe came up with some of their own ideas, hoping that they I've never been in the actual museum, so I don't know what it looks like, but hoping they have some life size cars. Some cool things would be some sims that people could either pay to get in, or it could be free. Get in and see what it's like to go around the track as close as you could get without getting in that two-seater, or actually getting in a car. But the pictures hopefully they don't my description of them don't do it justice. It looks like it's going to be one heck of a state of the art facility for celebrating the greatest spectacle in racing. And I, for one, cannot wait. I'll be one of the first in line to get in and see it whenever they do open it up. It'll be interesting with the renovations. Will they be closing the museum so that next year you won't we might not be able to get in there during the 500 or during the year, but it's going to be awesome. And for there to be, what'd you say, 86 million with an M, $86 million in renovations. That's staggering. That is staggering. I'm assuming those are that money's coming from donors from around the NTT, around the IndyCar series, and also they make enough money at that track to afford it. But $89 million is a staggering fee.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to see how far that 80 million is stretched in hopefully those renovations and the animations that we've seen do come to fruition, because that museum is definitely going to knock it out of the park. Love the idea. If you know me, I'm a huge sim race guy. I wasn't actually until getting into IndyCar, but now definitely can't get enough of it. Actually, looking to invest in a new computer to do that. We'll see how that works out. But I love the sim idea. Absolutely love the sim idea. Let's get to our sponsors here real quick. We'll knock this out, and then I see that Mike's here. Let him gloat about Mid Ohio, since he skipped out on us last week, and then we'll talk about Toronto this week, and then we'll get on out of here. But as you see, got to have sponsors to make everything possible here, and we have two great ones that I think you should go check out. First, Always Ready 1776. If you're looking for patriotic apparel, headwear, and more, go check out alwaysready1776.com. And if you do find something that you like and you want to purchase, don't forget, right before checkout, use the promo code that you see up on your screen, push to pass, for 10% off of your order over at alwaysready1776.com. And then also too, if you're like Josh and you're looking to renovate your home or looking for a new home in general, go over to GETTR Associates Incorporated for all your design, build, and remodeling needs. Remember, it's get'em.com there on what the cool kids say, the World Wide Web, get'em.com. And then if you do decide to get a rebuild or redesign, or model your home, remodel, maybe your home looks like the 90s and you want to get it to this day and age, um, you know don't forget to mention push to pass, and you will get $250 off any design service. Remember, that is get'em.com for all your design, build, and remodel needs. And then if you are a patriot and you're looking for apparel, headwear, and more, go check out alwaysready1776.com. It is that time where we bring in Mike of Burnout Sports, Burnout Bets, to make us some coin this week. He did skip out on us last week, so let's hear it, Mike. I know you bet the farm on Alex Palou to continue his winning streak. So now you're on some lavish vacation somewhere. Is that right?
Well, yeah. So I apologize for last week. I thought you were having a Fourth of July break. I was out of town, and I didn't even think that you were doing the podcast. So that one's on me. I missed the link. So yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, Mid Ohio was a good week, and yeah, I actually am currently sitting in a beach house for the week. So tough life, right? So spending some of that polo money out and about here in Indian Rocks Beach for the week. So yeah, last week, or Mid Ohio, was a really good week. Hit a bunch of the podium, hit the winner, hit a bunch of matchups. It was a very profitable race. So looking to stay hot going into Toronto.
Oh he skipped out last week, and that was probably my apologies. I gotta do a better job planning. Took all of his winnings, and now he is on a remote island somewhere in some hangout. That is probably members only, I would say. But we were talking about that Mike there at the beginning. How can you right now bet against Alec Pillow? How can you? I don't think we haven't seen this level of dominance. I think since maybe Scott Dixon did it a few times. But how can you right now in the betting world bet against Alex Pillow and what he is doing specifically to basically run away and hide for these last 8 races to lock up the title?
I can bet against him. I'm happy to bet against him. I will be betting against him this week. He sucks at Toronto. I mean, in every race is look, when it comes to natural road courses, when it comes to even some of these ovals, no, you can't bet against him. Yeah, and you're crazy if you want to do that. But when it comes to street courses and natural street courses, specifically Toronto, Polo's not very good. He had one good showing at one of these tracks where he started 22nd. I think he got up to like 5th or 6th. That was on some strategy and some luck with some cautions. But I am happy. I will not have Polo on my betting card this week. I will not be betting Polo. He is nowhere near anything I want to bet. So it's a race to race thing. Betting is gambling, and the old saying with if you play in the stock market, buy low, sell high, buy low. I'm ready to sell Polo, and if I get any kind of matchups in the sports books, it's funny. This is I think we do have push the podcast first here. I have odds. I have odds from Caesars on my phone on a Tuesday night for the race. I don't think I've ever seen that or been able to actually talk about odds with you guys. And of course, Polo's the favorite. He's a 3-1 favorite on Caesars. I've seen him a little higher elsewhere, but I think that's wrong. I think Dixon should be the favorite, followed by Herta and Newgarden, who are 2, 3, 4. So the sportsbook's got that part right, but the numbers are a little high. So yeah, I think look, Polo's probably winning the title. I do think it could get a little tight because obviously we're coming up on 2 races in Iowa that Joseph has the potential to win both. If Joseph can get a win this weekend in Toronto, which is a track he's done well at, I think things could get a little tighter between the two of them. But I'll be fading him this week.
That is amazing. The fact that we have odds. I when you said that, I pulled up my phone and there's odds. What on earth? What? I wonder why. I wonder because it's Toronto or what. But
No,
that's
it's
just
it's.
weird.
I'll tell you why. It's because there's so trivia question, right? Tomorrow is the one of I believe 3 days that there's no major sporting events in. So we got the All-Star games on tonight, and then tomorrow there's no baseball. There's no hockey, so the guys who make the odds and the sports books out there in the world are bored. And the list of sports they need to make odds with, IndyCar is usually like on page 10. And since there's no hockey, there's no baseball, there's no. I mean, I guess they're making summer league basketball lines, but there's no actual regular season major sporting events going on. We got IndyCar odds early. That is exactly why. But hey, I don't care. I'll
Oh,
take it. Um, it's good for us. So, like I said, Pelosier 3-1 favorite. No, thank you for me. Dixon at 6-1, Newgarden at 7.5-1, Herta 7.5-1, Award 8-1, McLaughlin 8.5-1, Erickson 10-1, Kirkwood 9-1, Power 11-1, Rossi 14-1. That's probably as low as you want to go for this race. Maybe Rosenquist is a guy I like 18-1. But really, honestly, for me, and any of those guys you want to pick, probably my favorite bet, they do have um, top 3 odds at Caesars. And Dixon, well, this is interesting because I bet it, and about maybe 3 hours ago, he was plus 140. He's now down to plus 120. So we're moving lines. He's down to plus 120 to finish top 3. I liked it better, obviously, at plus 140, 150, but I still think Dixon top 3 is probably going to be my favorite bet of the weekend here, at least pre-qualifications. And I think there's also some interesting numbers here. McLaughlin is 200 plus 200, so 2-1 to finish top 3. I think that's another good bet. I like him here, and I like Newgarden. He's plus 175, so to finish top 3. So But yeah, no Pillow. Unfortunately, I don't see any matchups with Pillow, which I would have loved to see, like a Newgarden versus Pillow or a Herta versus Pillow or a, I don't know anybody. But yeah, no thank you on Pillow for me this week. A couple of matchups they got at Caesars here. The one that sticks out to me is probably Rossi over Grosjean, and then Ericsson over Kirkwood. I'll go back to that. But otherwise, they put guys together who are all, Newgarden and Herta. I both expect to do well. I wouldn't touch that just yet.
Yeah, and definitely good to get your.
So Josh,
Go ahead.
I'll let you go. The two things that we have learned here in the last 5 minutes that don't I don't want you to bet the house on Pillow this week, even though I know you're looking for a new home. Don't bet the house on Pillow this week. And two, I think we have a push to pass first that we've just learned now how much pull Mike has with the sports books if they've already got odds out.
Well, I don't know if I have pull with the sports books, but I did put out on Twitter and on several other discords about betting the top three on Dixon, and that line definitely dropped 20, 30 points. So I don't know. I don't know who's betting enough money to move it. I don't know how much money would be required to move lines in IndyCar. Uh, but who knows? Maybe that's something we got going here. So I would jump on that Dixon top three as soon as I could, and honestly, McLaughlin is even money for a top five. Even Award being even money for a top five is pretty. If you like Award this week, I don't. He's been pushing it, and he's been making stupid mistakes, to mess himself up. But Award's still fast, and he has a good history here as well. But the guys I identified for this tracker before I saw odds, the guys I was planning to come talk about were Rosenquist, Rossi, Newgarden, McLaughlin, and Dixon. Obviously, Dixon just has an amazing history here, and I expect Dixon to be strong all week. And I expect Dixon to be on that podium, if not win the whole race. I did bet Dixon 6.5 to 1, as well as the top three already.
So your advice would be bet now because these odds will definitely change after qualifying, right? Some will get better,
Yeah,
some will get worse.
yeah. I mean, look, it depends. Always depends on the numbers. What I decide to do, like most weekends, it's probably 25% before qualifications, 75% after. Especially on tracks where I know that track position matters. Toronto is in the middle of the pack, and based on the numbers, track position is important. The winner usually comes from the top three in qualifications, but you can also see guys podium and some strategy, some cautions play into effect. Now, there's other tracks that doesn't matter as much, like for the ovals, for instance, where I might do a little bit more betting after qualifications, and but I would always save some money in case something goes wonky in qualifications. Like last week, Award was a guy I had bet to win the race, and he spun it in either the second round or the first round, and obviously he started. I think it was first round because he started dead last, right? So he started well, except second to last, but for the Pagano incident. So stuff like that can happen. Crazy stuff. He gets red flags and all that kind of stuff. So you got to save a little bit of money for Sunday. You have to be careful with your bankroll, but you can save it all for. Sometimes I don't like any numbers. I save it all for Sunday. So it just really just depends on what the sports books put out there and what the numbers are. But yeah, I think Dixon. I don't think he's ever not made the Fast Six since we've had Fast Sixes in Toronto. So that 6 to 1 is going to quickly turn into a 3, a 2, a 4, if he's starting in the top 3 or 4 for sure.
Okay.
So
Mike, with the news coming out today that Pagano not being cleared, which I think that's just a precautionary. I think any chance you would even consider maybe a dart play, Bloomquist, knowing the experience he's had on different circuits. I know obviously it's not IndyCar, but any chance at all you throw money at him?
no, it's a non-issue for betting. Honestly, This is how much the sports books pay attention. Pagano is still listed here. Bloomquist is not even on here. So Pagano's 150 to 1. Bloomquist will slot in at 300 or 400 or 500 to 1 with it's pretty crazy that Stingray Rob is 750 to 1, and Devlin is 300 to 1, and Peterson's 500 to 1. I mean, that is pretty insane numbers. But I mean, these guys don't have any. They're they're going to need a, let me call it a Danica type win, some sort of crazy yellow fuel mileage, something stupid happens, and they get incredibly lucky at the end of the race type deal, which happens once every 100 races, but you'll go broke chasing that. Now, I guess Derik,
I just didn't know if if that would be a dart play.
No, I would say like if
I just didn't know if that would be a dart play or something.
If the sports books give me a matchup where it's a regular driver versus him, give me the regular driver, even if it's Stingray, even if it's Augustin or Benjamin. Like, give me, I don't know, he's highly likely to put the car into the wall at some point or another and be off the track. Maybe not, or maybe he it couldn't. You never know. He could. You have to kind of listen to see what he says. If he's just going to try to take care of it, keep it off the wall, then maybe it's worth betting him against somebody because he's just going to take it easy, go in circles, and somebody else might be a little more aggressive. So there's those possibilities. You never know. It's always about what the sportsbooks are willing to post, but I have a feeling the sportsbooks won't have any idea he's even racing. We won't see his name on the odds boards.
Good stuff.
Good stuff for sure. I don't know if you and Tony have talked about it yet. Obviously, any spaces this weekend, night before race, anything for people to look out for?
A couple of things. No, we'll probably definitely do a spaces on Sunday. Maybe something Saturday night. One way or the other, we'll get something out there for everybody to listen to. Mid Ohio. We had obviously made a lot of people a lot of money. We got a ton of good feedback on that because most of our recommendations hit, both Tony's and I. So we'll definitely do something. So keep an eye out on the Burnout Bets Twitter as well as the at Indy_bet. It's probably the easiest place to just look. I'll retweet it all and tweet it out. So if you miss the live, you can get the recording. And then the F1 Money Gang is out there. I don't know if you guys know who those guys are. They're doing a podcast. And probably going to have me on to get some indie betting stuff. They're a big F1 betting conglomerate and do a lot of F1 stuff. And they're starting to dabble in some IndyCar betting. So keep an eye on the Twitter, and we'll post it all. No threads, just Twitter. I don't know if we're on threads yet. It's too much for me. I ain't dealing with all that stuff just yet.
I think Derik may be frozen over there. Oh, there he is.
Mike, good stuff out, and then follow Twitter this weekend, obviously, especially if they're going to be putting betting lines out early. I can only imagine the intense work Mike's going to have on his hands if they're going to put lines out this early. But Mike, good stuff as always. Thank you as always for joining us, and we'll talk to you 1 week from now with our pockets a little fuller than this week.
Let's hope. Good luck, guys. Take care.
See ya.
Good stuff, Josh. Good stuff there. As always, we were able to get everything in, give everyone a little bit of preview, and then hopefully everyone will follow Mike there on social media. And as you say, put a little extra shekels in their pocket there, as people may have vacations coming up, so on and so forth. Josh, anything else that you want to get to here, you want to hit on before we get to the closer and the checkered flag for this episode?
Nope. I'm gonna go drink me a liter of cola and watch the rest of this All-Star game and get ready for work in the morning, eh? We didn't put enough A's in here on this.
We did. I was just thinking that we didn't get enough A's, but hopefully we can make up for that this weekend. But good stuff. Make sure you like and subscribe to all of the social media networks that we are on, that we can be found on, and then pay attention to Twitter and such this weekend for updates, stories, news, anything that breaks. We will definitely have it for you. So for myself and Josh and everyone else here that makes up the Push to Pass podcast, that does it for this episode. I do see the checkered flag, so we do need to get to the show closer, and then we will be back 1 week from now to discuss everything that took place at the Honda Indy Toronto. So until a week from now, so long, everybody.
IndyCar is north of the border for the first time in 3 years. Welcome to Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
The fans have turned up in a huge way this weekend. Largest crowd we've had since the late 90s. The show's going to be a good one. Is this track? It is not easy.
Jump home with a good finish today, buddy. Copy that.
Here we go from Tio. Dixon is going to duck right in behind. Newgarden takes a look. Nothing there. Rossi trying to sweep around the outside.
Plus 1.1 over Dixon. Do a good job. Look out for those tires.
Award sending it inside of Grosjean.
And Rosenquist to the inside. They're going to make contact, and Rossi is into the wall.
You just hit me out. Go ahead and turn it off, Alex. You okay? I'm fine. Wow.
Palou around the outside with his teammate. Ericsson and Palou might have bumped. Still trying to squeeze through. Ericsson maintains the position. Kirkwood and Jimmy Johnson together, and they aren't going to make it through.
Jimmy turned down on me. Just got to watch out for the safety behind you. Oh, good, man. Don't stress.
How aggressive will Herta get?
This is 20 to go at the line, 20 to go at the line. That's lights out on the pace car. Let's get ready for a restart.
Back to green in Toronto. Good jump for Scott Dixon, and then side by side, Rahal going for a spot on McLaughlin, and I think he's got him.
Guys, this is a championship drive for Marcus Ericsson right now. He's kept it cool. He's kept it calm and controlled. Palou looks to the inside of turn 8. It's going to be a tough one.
Oh, Palou, get out of my way.
Lots of patience. Got time. No pressure. Remember the championship. Herta's saving even more now. Herta's having to save more, but he's going to turn up to defend, and he's on the struggle bus with his rear tires here. Let's go get him. One more good lap.
History made. Win number 52. Scott Dixon has tied Mario Andretti for the second most wins in IndyCar history.
Great job today, Scott. That's the way you do it, man. Well done, everybody. Boys and girls, thank you so much. Thank you.